What if one humble leafy green could actively support your heart health, sharpen your vision, and strengthen your bones, all while fitting effortlessly into your regular meals without drastic lifestyle changes? What if the secret wasn't a supplement, a powder, or a complicated diet plan, but something you can find in the produce aisle any day of the week? Today, we are decoding kale. And not with hype, not with food fads, but with science. I'm glad you're here. I'm a science-focused nutrition educator, and my work centers on translating rigorous research into clear, practical guidance you can actually use in your kitchen. In this video, we're going to explore kale's nutritional profile using current USDA Food Data Central data, examine what peer-reviewed research really says about its health benefits, discuss smart preparation strategies to maximize both flavor and nutrient absorption, and close with important safety considerations so you can make informed decisions confidently. My goal is not to convince you that kale is magical. It isn't. But it is remarkably nutrient-dense, and when used wisely, it can become a powerful ally in a balanced, sustainable way of eating. Let's begin with the foundation. What is actually inside kale? According to the USDA Food Data Central database, 1 cup of raw chopped kale, about 67 grams, provides a substantial amount of vitamins A, C, and K, along with smaller but meaningful amounts of calcium, potassium, magnesium, and dietary fiber. It is low in calories, very low in fat, and rich in phytonutrients, naturally occurring plant compounds that interact with the body in complex ways. Vitamin K is one of kale's standout nutrients. Think of vitamin K as a skilled construction foreman directing calcium precisely where your bones need it most. Without sufficient vitamin K, calcium can wander, depositing in soft tissues rather than being efficiently incorporated into bone. Vitamin K activates proteins that bind calcium to the bone matrix, contributing to normal bone metabolism. Kale is one of the richest natural dietary sources of this vitamin. Vitamin A in kale comes largely in the form of beta-carotene, a precursor the body converts as needed. Vitamin A supports immune function, skin integrity, and most famously, vision. Inside the retina, vitamin A derivatives are part of the chemical process that allows you to detect light. Imagine vitamin A as a light-sensitive switch inside your eyes that flips on every time photons hit your retina. Vitamin C is another major contributor. It acts as a water-soluble antioxidant and plays a critical role in collagen formation. Collagen is the structural protein that supports skin, blood vessels, tendons, and bones. You can think of vitamin C as the maintenance crew that helps keep your connective tissues strong and resilient. It also supports immune defenses and enhances absorption of non-heme iron from plant foods. Kale also contains calcium. While dairy is often emphasized as a calcium source, certain leafy greens contribute meaningfully, and kale is notable because its calcium is relatively well absorbed compared to some other greens high in oxalates. Calcium is essential for bone structure, but also for muscle contraction, nerve transmission, and blood clotting. Potassium, another mineral found in kale, supports normal blood pressure regulation by helping counterbalance sodium's effects. It participates in fluid balance and electrical signaling in the heart and muscles. Then we have dietary fiber. Fiber is not glamorous, but it is foundational. In the digestive tract, soluble fiber forms a gel-like substance that can bind certain cholesterol compounds. Insoluble fiber adds bulk and supports bowel regularity. Together, they nourish beneficial gut bacteria and contribute to metabolic health. Think of fiber as both the broom that keeps the digestive system moving and the fertilizer that feeds your gut microbiome. Now let's talk about kale's phytonutrients. Lutein and zeaxanthin are carotenoids concentrated in leafy greens. They accumulate in the macula of the eye, where they help filter blue light and support retinal integrity. Quercetin and camphorol are flavonoids. Antioxidant compounds that help neutralize reactive oxygen species. If you imagine daily living as exposing your cells to environmental wear and tear, antioxidants act like your cell's daily shield against that stress. Kale also contains glucosinolates, sulfur-containing compounds characteristic of cruciferous vegetables. When chopped or chewed, these compounds are converted into biologically active substances such as isothiocyanates, including sulforaphane. These molecules have been widely studied in laboratory settings for their effects on cellular detoxification pathways. That is the nutritional landscape. Now let's move into what the research says about health outcomes. First, cardiovascular support. A 2020 systematic review published in the Journal of Nutrition evaluated the effects of leafy green vegetables and dietary fiber on cholesterol markers. The evidence suggests that soluble fiber from vegetables like kale can modestly improve LDL cholesterol profiles when consumed as part of an overall heart-healthy diet. The mechanism is straightforward. Soluble fiber binds bile acids in the intestine, prompting the liver to use circulating cholesterol to produce more bile. Over time, this can contribute to small but meaningful improvements in lipid levels. It is not a replacement for prescribed therapy, but it is a supportive dietary factor recognized in cardiovascular nutrition guidelines. Additionally, potassium intake is consistently associated with healthier blood pressure patterns. Both the World Health Organization and major cardiology societies emphasize increasing potassium-rich foods as part of dietary approaches to support normal blood pressure. Next, antioxidant and anti-inflammatory activity. Flavonoids such as camphorol and quercetin have been studied extensively in cell and animal models. Research indexed in PubMed demonstrates that these compounds can influence inflammatory signaling pathways and reduce oxidative stress markers under experimental conditions. In humans, diets rich in flavonoid-containing fruits and vegetables are associated with lower markers of systemic inflammation. However, it is essential to understand that these findings reflect dietary patterns, not single superfoods. Kale contributes to this pattern. It does not act alone. Eye health is another area where kale shines. The NIH-funded ARDS-2 trial investigated the role of lutein and zeaxanthin in age-related macular degeneration. The study found that supplementation with these carotenoids reduced the risk of progression to advanced macular degeneration in certain populations. Kale, being rich in lutein and zeaxanthin, contributes these compounds naturally through food. While eating kale is not equivalent to high-dose supplementation used in clinical trials, including carotenoid-rich greens in the diet supports retinal health as part of a protective dietary pattern. Bone health brings us back to vitamin K. NIH-supported osteoporosis research has explored the relationship between vitamin K intake and bone mineral density. Adequate vitamin K intake is associated with improved markers of bone turnover and, in some studies, better bone density outcomes. Kale provides substantial vitamin K, which supports the activation of osteocalcin, a protein involved in binding calcium to bone. Again, bone health depends on multiple nutrients, calcium, vitamin D, protein, and physical activity, but vitamin K plays an important supporting role. Now let's discuss blood sugar regulation. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention highlight dietary fiber as a protective factor in diabetes prevention strategies. Fiber slows gastric emptying and moderates the absorption of glucose into the bloodstream, helping prevent sharp post-meal spikes. Incorporating fiber-rich vegetables like kale into meals can contribute to more stable glycemic responses, particularly when paired with balanced proteins and healthy fats. Cancer research requires careful nuance. Laboratory studies on sulforaphane and related compounds show promising mechanisms, including activation of detoxification enzymes and modulation of gene expression related to cell cycle control. Observational studies suggest that higher intake of cruciferous vegetables correlates with lower risk of certain cancers. However, correlation does not equal causation. Human clinical trials isolating kale itself as a therapeutic agent are lacking. Kale should be viewed as one valuable component within a diverse, plant-rich diet rather than any form of treatment or cure. Balance and realism are critical here. Kale truly shines brightest when featured within a colorful, varied plate, not as a dietary obsession but as one thoughtful component of lifelong nourishment. Now let's turn to preparation and practical use. When selecting kale, look for deep green leaves with firm, crisp stems. Avoid bunches with yellowing or wilting edges. Once home, store kale unwashed in the refrigerator crisper. Placing a dry paper towel inside a breathable container or loosely wrapped bag helps absorb excess moisture and prolong freshness. Raw kale can be fibrous. A simple massage technique transforms its texture. Remove the tough central stems, chop the leaves, drizzle with a small amount of olive oil and a squeeze of lemon, and gently massage for 1 to 2 minutes. This mechanical action breaks down cellulose structures, reduces bitterness, and improves palatability. Cooking method matters. Light steaming for a few minutes preserves heat-sensitive nutrients like vitamin C better than prolonged boiling. Steaming also softens fibers and may enhance bioavailability of certain carotenoids. Because vitamins A and K are fat-soluble, pairing kale with healthy fats, such as avocado, olive oil, nuts, or seeds, improves absorption. Think of fat as the vehicle that transports these nutrients across the intestinal lining. In terms of quantity, 1 to 2 cups of raw kale or about half a cup cooked, consumed 3 to 4 times weekly, fits comfortably within a balanced dietary pattern. Rotating kale with other leafy greens such as spinach, Swiss chard, and arugula ensures nutrient diversity and prevents over-reliance on any single compound source. Before we move to safety, let's pause for a quick myth-busting moment. You may have heard that raw kale is always nutritionally superior. That is not entirely accurate. While raw kale preserves certain heat-sensitive vitamins, light cooking can increase the bioavailability of carotenoids and significantly reduce goitrogenic compounds that may interfere with thyroid function in large amounts. The best preparation method depends on your health context, preferences, and overall diet. There is no universal rule, only informed choices. Now, safety considerations, presented clearly and with care. Kale contains oxalates, naturally occurring compounds that can contribute to kidney stone formation in susceptible individuals. For most people, this is not a concern. But if you have a history of calcium oxalate kidney stones, moderation and hydration are important. This does not usually require elimination, just thoughtful intake. Vitamin K interacts with anticoagulant medications such as warfarin. Because warfarin works by antagonizing vitamin K-dependent clotting factors, sudden changes in vitamin K intake can alter medication effectiveness. If you take anticoagulants, dietary consistency is essential, and any significant change in leafy green consumption should be discussed with your prescribing physician. Kale also contains goitrogens, compounds that can interfere with iodine uptake in very high amounts. Light cooking significantly reduces these compounds. For most people with normal thyroid function and adequate iodine intake, kale is safe. However, individuals with diagnosed thyroid conditions or iodine deficiency should seek personalized guidance from their endocrinologist before making substantial dietary changes. This content is for educational purposes only and is not medical advice. Consult your healthcare provider before making dietary changes, especially if you manage health conditions or take medications. As we come toward the end, let's recap 3 practical takeaways. First, kale is exceptionally nutrient-dense, providing substantial vitamins A, C, and K along with fiber and beneficial phytonutrients. Second, its benefits, cardiovascular support, eye protection, bone metabolism, and metabolic health, are grounded in credible research when kale is part of a broader plant-forward diet. Third, preparation matters. Light steaming, pairing with healthy fats, rotating with other greens, and maintaining dietary consistency, especially if on certain medications, are all key to smart use. Kale is not a miracle. It is not a cure. But it is a powerful, accessible ingredient that supports health when integrated thoughtfully. Share your favorite kale tip or recipe in the comments, we read every one. If this empowered your kitchen choices today, please tap like, subscribe for science-led nutrition insights every week, and share this with someone who values eating well. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this video to help others discover the power of informed nutrition choices.